Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's live coverage. Welcome to BG Matchday. I am Omar Hawash, and today I will be talking you through Girona and Barça as they face in La Liga. And as we're talking, the game already is well underway. Of course, this game, a crucial one for Barça in many respects, coming off the back of the heavy 4-0 defeat in the Copa del Rey to Atleti, where the team showed no desire, no real urgency, no creativity, no inventiveness, no nothing in truth, which I've spoken about at length since. And without a doubt, will be something we'll be pulling out of the hat today because it will be there. We will be drawing parallels between those two games. And so, obviously, now the interesting thing will be to see whether Barca have it in them to bounce back after a defeat like that. And for Hansi Flick, the 11 he has picked today, not too dissimilar to what we saw last time. And of course, these live streams are available on Twitter, available on Facebook, and the likes. Facebook is being a bit iffy, but we will get that to work in just about a second, I hope. Um, and yeah, like I said, the game today will without a doubt be an important one. I mean, it always was going to be. It's Girona and Barca playing against each other. It's always going to be an important game. But this one even more so coming off the back of an embarrassing game um, for Barca. And so today will be a game where they have the chance here at the Montilivi to really show that they still have something left in the tank. Now, the 11 that Hansi Flick has picked, as I was about to mention, are the following. Joan Garcia in between the sticks, obviously was always going to be. Kunde starts on the right, Gerard Martin on the left, Eric Garcia and Pau Cubarsí in the middle, Frankie de Jong in midfield with Fermin Lopez and Dani Olmo, and then Lamine Yamal on the right, Ferran Torres through the middle, and Rafinha on the left. Rafinha, of course, back from injury. Pedri will be back soon. Hansi Flick confirmed at a press conference about a day ago. Gavi will take a little bit longer to heal. But then obviously on the bench you have the likes of Alejandro Balde, the likes of Joao Cancelo, Ronald Araujo, Casado, Tommy as well, and of course Wojciech Chesney, Diogo Koshin, Robert Lewandowski, and Rooney Bargi. For Girona, the starting 11 consists of names that you will definitely have heard of if you have not been under a rock for the last couple of years. Gazaniga in goal, Martinez, and that is, of course, Arnau Martinez. Left back, Rincon on the right hand side. Reis, not Ludovic Reis, but Vitor Reis. Through in the heart of defense with Dali Blind. Yes, that Dali Blind. In midfield, Axel Witzel, the very one. Next to Ivan Martin. And then on the left is Brian Hill. Tsigankov on the right. Victor Tsigankov, who has really been doing well for Girona in recent years. And then up front is Thomas Lemar, believe it or not, 30 years of age only, despite the fact that a lot of people will have heard that name for many years. Started out very early on the pretty big stages. Now finds himself playing his trade for Girona, and then of course it's Vladislav Vanat next to him. And for Girona names you might recognize Fran Beltran, of course, on the bench, Abel Ruiz, Cristian Stuani, and then Claudio Echeverri, the talented Argentinian midfielder, also on the bench. So they have some names that can pull out the hat, and for them, Donny van de Beek injured, Marc-Andre Ter Stegen injured, Alex Moreno injured, Christian Porto injured. So some injuries on their list as well, and of course, something that you would imagine would hinder their performance today, as they find themselves currently 12th in La Liga, very much mid-table, and of course, this game could affect that up or down. As for Barca, this game could shoot them back up top of the table. Real Madrid currently leading by a point. Could help shoot them up the table. Real Madrid currently leading by a point. Of course, should Barca win this, they will find themselves a point ahead of Los Blancos. Of course, Los Blancos having recently defeated Real Sociedad and Valencia before that. So there's some background information for you. And as for this match, it is still nil-nil. We're about 5, 6 minutes in, and Barca so far, as you'd expect, have had most of possession, 80%. But no chances. Girona might have one here though, as Vanat almost found himself through Eric Garcia there to chase, and the swing in the cross comes down the left hand side, but doesn't come to much as Girona find themselves unable to really make much of it. And Vanat it will be the interesting name here because Vanat is on paper going to be one of the two strikers, but it is very possible that we'll see him roaming more down the left as Fermin Lopez gets himself into trouble trying to dribble out of the danger zone. Girona pick it back up, and Barca win it right off them as Lamine Yamal finds Frankie de Jong far side. Now Frankie swings it over on the left for Gerard Martin. Here is Rafinha, and Rafinha with a long ball in towards Ferran Torres, picked up by Gazaniga, who again starts ahead of Marc-Andre Ter Stegen. The German has not had a great start to life at the Montedivi. Of course, got injured quite early into his career there after not being able to keep a clean sheet on his debut. So not the best of starts to life at Girona for him. And of course, we'll see when he comes back, if he comes back in time to complete the season. As Dani Olmo chasing down Brian Hill here down the left hand side. Very well done by Dani Olmo. And of course, the interesting change that I don't think many people have been talking about has been the repurposing, if you will, of Dani Olmo, of course, in the absence of Pedri, in the absence of Gavi. Um, and we talk about Gavi as if he's guaranteed to be a starting 11 midfielder. Uh, with the current lineup, he probably would be when he comes back. But even then, Fermin has played in the midfield role, sort of a double pivot with Frankie de Jong. Dani Olmo has done that recently more so, and I think Dani Olmo for me has actually done a great job of it. I think because he has that attacking eye, because he knows how to keep possession, he is very press resistant. I think for me, him and the double pivot and Fermin at the 10, I think pleases everyone. Then of course, when Pedri does come back, you would expect Pedri to start ahead of either Frankie or Olmo as Fermin Lopez driving the ball forward here. Very well, Fermin leaves it for Ferran Torres. Can he finish? Not quite. And he's chased down by the Girona cavalry, and they arrive just in time to make sure El Tiburon had his teeth snatched. And here, Barca go forward again. Frankie de Jong for Lamine Yamal. Lamine thought about a cross, but went back for the supporting cast in Pau Cubarsí. Lamine now swings it right for Jules Koundé. Koundé back to Lamine Yamal. Lamine with a diagonal switch across for Gerard Martin. Gerard thought about a cross as well. And Barca keep faking the cross. Girona keep reading it. Frankie around the edge of the box here goes for Lamine Yamal. Lamine now up against a very strong defensive line who clears the attempted through ball over the top. And Girona thought they had a counterattack going, but Barca were there to snatch it away. Juan Garcia swings it left for Gerard Martin. Picked up well. Good first touch. And Rafinha unable to keep it, but looking to chase it down a little bit, leaving that for Dani Olmo and company. Now it's swung towards the left-hand side for Tomás Lemar. He doesn't get it in time as the ball didn't have enough accuracy and ultimately fell for Barca, who now look to build their own counterattack, except Lamine Yamal wasn't able to beat his man down the left-hand side in Arnau Martinez. And again, this will be a very interesting matchup, of course. Arnau Martinez now finding himself as the captain of Girona, and of course, a very important figure. And so for them, he will be a crucial figure, and of course, stopping Lamine Yamal naturally, but playing down the right hand side. Then, of course, also Brian Gil will have to come back and help defend. And so far, that is what we've seen. We've seen that sort of tag team of those two performing down the left hand side as Brian Gil with a good ball here for Vanav. Vanav cuts inside and then goes for the ball across towards Sigankov, but it was just dealt with by, I believe, Gerard Martin sliding in just in time. And Barca now slowing the play down to a crawl and looking to build from the back. Rafinha, the catalyst. Here is Jules Koundé down the right. And 10 minutes in, we're seeing exactly the type of game that anyone would expect, really, watching these two sides. Is it is going to be slow. It's going to be deliberately slow. It's not going to be an open game. Girona are going to play with something resembling a medium to a low block, especially when Barca are in the final third. As Jules Koundé here looking to swing it over the top towards Ferran Torres. Unable to do that, though, and their return bounce falls for Fermin Lopez, who heads it back to Jules Koundé, while now back with Barca in their own half. And it's the same old story again. Frenkie de Jong driving forward, his pass intercepted. Thomas Lemar now finding support in the middle, but it's very congested. He swings it out left towards Brian Hill, who's chased down by Jules Koundé. Brian Hill looks for the cross, fakes it, and now the cut back in towards the box. It's slid into by, I believe, Rafinha. It is slid into the hands of Jean Garcia by Rafinha, who has to come all the way back to help defend. Read the cutback very well, the Brazilian. But again, this is what we're talking about. This is the issue with Barca. One ball, and that's all it takes. One pass over the top, and they're completely beaten. And any other team who competently and consistently finishes those, Barca would have been down by 2 goals already. And they haven't had anywhere near enough to merit saying that they at least had a chance on goal. That hasn't even occurred yet. We've barely seen a shot. The one by Ferran Torres was just about a pass towards Gazaniga in goal. And so, surprisingly, unsurprisingly, Girona actually have been the most dangerous of the two sides. They've been the more dangerous of the two sides here in the opening 10 to 15 minutes. And that's a fact. And if that surprises anyone, I suggest you rewatch the game of Barca v Atleti because it was pretty much the same story, except Atleti actually, again, had the competence and the ability to finish off the chances they were creating. And had Barca been a bit more unlucky, they would have lost by more. But that is the reality that Barca fans are living in at the moment, is that Barca just have not been that good and just aren't that good at this point in time. And that's the truth. And Girona here with a throw in down the left hand side. Vanav, of course, not in an offside position, but very much clear of the defensive line, tries to find help inside. And Dani Olmo there to read it. Barca now looking to play it out the back. Eric Garcia clears his lines over towards Lamine Yamal, who was never going to get to that. It's headed out by, I believe, Dali Blind for a throw in for Barca. And again, it is a very interesting game for a lot of reasons. But equally, if you're Barca, you want to do a whole lot more than this. A whole lot more than this. For the second game in a row, and this is something that I will be talking about at length after this game. It's it's like another team decided to dress in Blaugrana for 90 minutes. That's what it feels like. And that's with no disrespect to any other team in the league. As Dali Blinker with a great ball for Brian Hill down the left hand side. He has support. Brian Hill in for Lemar. And well, Barca just about got back in time. Looks like it's called back for offside on Brian Hill. But again, it's just about. We'll see it on the replay again. I don't think it was that far of an offside. It is quite clear on the replay. Ronald Araujo very vocal on the sidelines as well. But again, for Hansi Flick, the question has to be, and it's a question we've honestly posed a million times now. What do you do with the high line? Because you clearly don't have the personnel for the high line anymore. Escobar swings one long here up towards the attacking line of Barca. Fermin Lopez looking to chase it down. Does enough to pressure Girona into not keeping possession. And Barca now looking to play it around the halfway line here to get some possession and some sense of control into this game because, quite frankly, they have had none. Regardless of the scoreline being 0-0, regardless of what the possession stat will tell you, Barca have had zero control over this game so far. And anyone telling you otherwise need to lay off the apps, quite frankly. As Ferran Torres dropping deep to build here around the halfway line, pushing Rafinha actually as the 9 right now. Fermin down the left, and a cross goes in here towards Rafinha. It's not a bad one. It's a pretty good one down the left-hand side. Even fooled the cameraman, and Rafinha almost got a foot to it, but only just. And Girona now looking to build from the back. And again, two sides that play somewhat similarly. Girona in possession, like to keep possession instead of just going long. but also understand the sense of urgency which Barca are currently lacking in these games as Girona look to build here. Barca deny the attack, but then they get it right back here through Axel Witsel and Brian Gil looking to beat Lamine Yamal. He does initially, and then beats Kunde. Brilliant pressing from Brian Gil. Goes with a cross in towards the mixer, and it's picked up by Joan Garcia. Tenacity from Brian Gil, eager to prove a point today. And Barca looking to respond immediately. Lamine Yamal with a Trivela pass over for Fermin Lopez. Crosses it in for Rafinha. Rafinha up against one. Cuts inside. Rafinha! And it's just wide from the Brazilian. It is an unlucky outcome for the Brazilian there. As Barca, that is the closest they've gotten to scoring today. And immediately, Girona wastes no time in looking to build an attack, already finding themselves well past the halfway line. Barca now finding time to recover to their positions as Girona are taking quite some time on the ball here. Diagonal swing over left for Brian Gil, who without a doubt will be the catalyst for many great things for Girona today if he gets the opportunity to be. And so far, Barca have given him every chance. Olmo does get a good over the top ball over for Lamine Yamal. Lamine finding himself one on one. Lamine down the right. Lamine Yamal looking to chip Gazaniga. It's a very tame effort ultimately. And Gazaniga easily denies him. It falls for Dali Blind, and Girona now can build the other way. Barca being honestly wasteful with their chances so far. And there haven't been that many of them. Girona with a great ball here through towards Ivanav, just tricking the entire defensive line there. And I don't think there was an offside call. We'll have to wait and see what the referee says, but it didn't seem like he was calling it back for offside. Lamine did well initially to get into that position, did well to use Rafinha as the decoy. But then ultimately, when trying to chip the ball, it kind of got away from him, and so he couldn't quite get the accuracy on it. And ultimately, neither the power, which Girona will consider themselves very lucky for as they try to build again down the right-hand side now. Is getting very congested down the right, which leaves a lot of room for Brian Gil down the left. And he's finding himself through more often than not, really, which is without a doubt something Girona will be capitalizing on because Jules Koundé, not the most defensively oriented, never has been when he's been playing as a fullback, that is. And then, of course, Lamine Yamal, not one to press all that much. He presses very well in stints, but he's not the kind of winger you would expect to press for 90 minutes, at least not defensively, as Girona might be through here down the right. Tsigankov. Victor Tsigankov up against Gerard Martin. Tsigankov back heels it for the run down the line for Arnau Martinez. And another chance here for the cross over to the edge of the box. Arnau thought he might get to that, but looks like Fermin Lopez had other ideas, running into the mixer and heading it right out of play for a corner, which I believe is the first corner of the game. Again, if you're Barca, this is, well, quite frankly, I'm not even sure terrible is the right word here, because again, Girona comfortably mid-table, and yet making a very big challenge out of it for the once league leaders. Thomas Lemar with the corner. It's an outswinger, and it's just rejected by Barca. Falls back out for Thomas Lemar. Awaiting support in the half space. Finds it through Brian Gil. Brian Gil looking to dribble outside and does. Before then, finding himself stuck between the sidelines and Rafinha stepping in. And looks like Barca might have given away another chance. And again, watching the Rafinha chance back, it was very good movement from the Brazilian. Axel Witsel stepping in just in time to make sure he was forced to go wide and not go towards Gazaniga and goal. Looks like Barca wound up getting the goal kick as Koundé looks to find Lamine Yamal, immediately pressed by Arnau. And again, that's the matchup we were talking about, but he beats Arnau. Looks like he beat him illegally, says the referee. And it will be a free kick for Girona. And Cesar Sotogrado not very happy with Lamine there. Looks like he kind of unsure. Yeah, well, he does tug his shirt on the way away from him, which does seem kind of unnecessary. Lewandowski shaking his head on the sideline on the bench, although Unsure whether that's due to the referee's decision or whether that's due to Lamine Yamal's action there. But free kick is given. Barca win it back though. And well, now building very slowly. And of course, this game a special one for Eric Garcia as well, having played that Girona, and ultimately did not sign a permanent deal with them following his loan spell over there, although did very well in that loan spell. Rejuvenated his career completely before coming back to Barca and then doing the exact same thing. And now finds himself being one of the most consistent performers for Barca. And we'll see how he does today. As Barca building here down the left hand side, Olmo thought he could go forward, decided to go backwards instead. Ball now with Frenkie de Jong. Finds Lamine Yamal. Lamine supported by Kunde on the overlap. Goes back in for Frenkie de Jong. Barca retreating ever so slightly now, finding themselves right around the halfway line, really, as they look to venture their way into the final third. And Barca now playing it around here, looking to find an in-way. And it doesn't look like the inroad is going to show. So maybe a bit of extra creativity will be needed here. A good play between Fermin and Kunde. Now Lamine and Kunde. Kunde does not get to the return ball. Brian Gil does brilliantly. Arnau chips it down the line here for the supporting Girona man here. Axel Witzel, of course. And the ball now finds itself on the right hand side. It's a ball through for Sigankov. Denied by John Garcia. And suspicions of offside. Will they be confirmed? We'll have to see. Doesn't look like it. Good chance for Tsigankov. And he found Vanaf through as well. And Vanaf's effort quite tame there, really. But he's had some good movement today, Vanat. He's troubled the Barca defense quite a lot. You can tell that just like Atleti, they've trained the move to just about beat the high line. Haven't been as successful as Atleti have, but they've done very, very well nonetheless. And we'll see if Barca have any response. Pauco Barci on the ball here. Finds Martin. It's a great ball in. And here's Rafinha. Gets it from Ferran. Rafinha fakes one side, goes the other. Back to Ferran Torres. And it's just wide by El Tiburon. It's a good effort from Barca. That's more like it. But no goals to show for it yet. It was a genuinely good chance by Barca. But again, the final touch really failing them. The interesting part will be to see whether they can freshen that up a little bit before the 90 minutes are over. And of course, for Ferran Torres, some of the other options for Hansi Flick with regards to Ferran Torres are, of course, Robert Lewandowski, in addition to someone like Rooney Bargi, who would not be operating as a 10. And that would therein lies the problem, of course. But in terms of attack and reinforcements on the bench, not that many, quite frankly, for Hansi Flick today. Robert Lewandowski, Rooney Bargi, realistically, the only attacking options. Then you have Marc Bernal and Marc Casado in midfield, as well as Tommy Marquez. And then in defense, Balde, Cancelo, Araujo. So the options are not that many. This is the best 11, realistically speaking, on paper, barring Lewandowski and Ferran. Although Girona might be through here down the left, it's Brian Gil again at the forefront. Brian Gil tries the cutback. Eric Garcia denies him and then heads it out for a corner. And again, Brian Gil has been timing his runs perfectly. A really, really good piece of play between him and Arnau Martinez. And Vanat also involved. And again, that's the thing. Vanat maybe hasn't scored, but he's been very involved. Thomas Lemar has done well whenever he's had the ball, which hasn't been a lot, but he's definitely been bothering the Barca defense at least, marking them, having to mark an extra man. And so for him, as long as he's causing that kind of trouble, realistically, he's not a weak link in that sense. As Barca might be through here. Daniel Olmo threw a ball in towards Rafinha, and he's just pushed off. Brilliant, brilliant defending from Girona, and specifically from Vitores, who does really well there to beat Rafinha just in the last moment. Shoulder to shoulder, completely legal, and ultimately make sure the ball lands for Gazaniga instead, as Rafinha would have been one on one. And so far, it is still 0-0. Barca now 65% possession. Not that it really means anything if you can't make anything happen with the possession, which has pretty much been the story of Barca the last couple of games as they try to build again. Ferran combining with Gerard Martin. Martin with a cross, and it goes all the way over to the other side. And by that, I mean literally by the touchline as Lamine Yamal picks it up. Lamine up against Arnau. Lamine looking to make inways and ultimately stumbles over as he's very, very legally pushed just over the edge. And nothing illegal about that. Very good defending from Girona, in fact. And Lamine Yamal unable to really make the most of it. And again, it was Arnau Martinez and it was Brian Gil. And Arnau did incredibly well with his tackle, just waiting for Lamine to give him even half a second and then took it. Brian Gil, of course, there for backup. Again, what we're talking about with Thomas Lemar there, giving the ball away, though, as he tried to Travella pass into midfield. Barca pick it up. Gerard Martin, Rafinha. Rafinha! Just wide. Venomous strike from the Brazilian, but unluckily for him, unable to find the target. As Vitores again did well to force him to shoot, really, with his movement. And shoot he did, but it went over the bar and wide. And Girona are looking to build their own attack here down the left. And again, it's coming down the left-hand side every single time. And for Atleti, they were targeting the right-hand side every single time with Alejandro Balde. Girona are doing the exact opposite. Very few attacks have come down the right-hand side. And when they have come to the right side, they've switched them over to the left and attacked that way. As they probably will do again here, are now swinging it across for help down the right with Rincon. Finds Sigankov. Back in for Vitores. And Girona looking to build down the right-hand side this time. Quick 1-2s, and they're working well. And a ball now diagonal over for Brian Gil. Gil waiting for Vatav. He's found him, and it's denied by Joan Garcia. Brilliant save by the Barca keeper. But my goodness, the defense was spliced open again. Brian Gil timed the ball perfectly to Vanat, who took a first-time shot. Joan Garcia did incredibly well to get down just in time. But again, it just isn't good enough for Barca because, like I said, any sort of competent finish there, and it's a goal. And they've had those chances about 3 times already in the first half. It is still 0-0, but that flatters Barca more than it flatters Girona, believe it or not. And Girona, mind you, are mid-table in La Liga this season. Barca looking to attack and create something at all of substance down the left-hand side here, back into the halfway line with Pau Kubarsi. Across for Koundé. Here's Lamine Yamal. Lamine back to the Frenchman. In for Kubarsi. And the ball now finds itself on the left-hand side for Barca. Gerard Martin. Frenkie de Jong drops deep to help facilitate some play with Dani Olmo, his double pivot. Goes over for Koundé, and again, it's like a pendulum. It's going left, right, left, right, left, right. There is no inventiveness, no risk taking, no nothing about this play from Barca. As Eric Garcia here for Ferran Torres, good move from Ferran. Moves away, swings it over for Lamine Yamal. Lamine, first touch for Koundé. Koundé looking to keep hold of it, unable to. Lemar looking to charge. Lamine Yamal charges down or back to get it back and does very well in doing so. In for Olmo. Back to Lamine. Koundé. And Lamine pretty much becoming the playmaker here, which is odd because there are 2 other attacking midfielders plus a very creative winger on the team as well. But it seems as though Barca are relying on Lamine to unlock the defense, and so far he hasn't quite been able to. Koundé down the right, up against Arnau. Koundé looking to beat Brian Gil first time. Goes back for Lamine Yamal, now up against 3, in for Olmo. Back for Kubarsi. Here is Frankie de Jong on the right hand side in the half space. Finds Kunde down the right, and Kunde sees no targets at all for a cross. So forced to go back. And again, that's exactly what Barca have been doing for the last 5 minutes. Olmo, Frankie, and for Lamin. Lamin forced to go back. Keeps hold of it well. And then loses possession through a foul. Barca get a free kick. But again, 5 minutes where Barca have just swung the ball from right to left, left to right to left, left to right. Not a single shot, not a single line breaking attempt, nothing at all. Nothing at all. And this free kick is from quite some distance. So we're talking about maybe 40 meters. So there is no chance anyone is taking a shot at this. So it will be a cross. But the problem is Barca really don't have any aerial threats that you would immediately recognize as aerial threats, the same way they had Inigo, the same way Ronald Araujo could be classified as one who's on the bench now. So it will be interesting to see what Barca do from this, as Daniel Olmo swings it over towards Kunde. He heads it, just about keeps it. Eric Garcia looks for a shot. It's blocked. Bounces all the way towards the right-hand side with Daniel Olmo now. Olmo in for Lamin. Sees the brilliant ball in towards Kunde. It's denied by Gazaniga. And still bouncing around the edge of the box. Fermin keeps it in play. Fermin over and wide. And looks like Girona are arguing that Barca might have had a handball there. But, well, wouldn't really have mattered anyway because well, yeah, they're arguing that when Fermin chested it down, it was with his arm. And from this angle, which is also the referee's angle, so that's Grado, it looks like a pretty plausible assumption to make. And again, Gazaniga did very, very well. Brilliant ball from Lamine Yamal in towards Jules Koundé, floating over the top through ball. But didn't come to much because Gazaniga did very, very well. And Koundé did well too to at least keep it within the grasp of Barca. Although, again, Barca unable to make much happen. And here's a potential chance as Ferran Torres looking to swing it over on the left-hand side for Rafinha. Rafinha does really well to keep hold of it. Finds help down the left in Fermin Lopez. Fermin! And over and wide. And again, another chance for Barca. Another chance goes to waste. 33 minutes in, it is still 0-0. And, well, if I was Girona right now, I'd be feeling pretty hard done by. Because realistically, Girona is the team here that deserves a lead so far. It is not Barca. Don't let the stats fool you. And just to not let them fool you, I'm just going to bring them up really quickly. 70% possession. Barca have had 8 shots. Out of those 8, 1 on target. Out of those 8 shots in 33 minutes, Barca have only gotten a single shot on target. Girona, meanwhile, have had 2 shots, and they've both been on target. Pretty good attempts, too. I'm not going to lie. Pretty good attempts, too, to be honest with you. So, for Barca, far from good enough. Far from good enough. That 80% possession can warm you through the winter all you want, but it's not going to win you games if you don't do anything useful with it. The truth is, so far, Barca have managed to do absolutely nothing with it. As Girona come forward again here, Brian Hill, brilliant footwork here. Finds Lemar. Lemar back to Brian Hill. He has support down the right-hand side. He finds Manat. And again, he misses the chance by just whiffing the ball completely. Girona still in the danger zone now with a cross in and goes and falls all the way over for Lemar. He crosses it back across the box. And Girona looking to keep hold of the ball here around Barca's box. Barca, to their credit, pressing incredibly well the second they get anywhere near. But they might have a chance here down the right-hand side. Or at least so it seemed, if not for Eric Garcia, who does very well in clearing his lines. Finding Ferran Torres. The Tiburon could not keep hold of the ball. Girona back in possession down the right-hand side here. What can they do? With Blind combining here. And the ball almost landed for Brian Hill. But Joan Garcia swooped in time. And again, for Barca, they are making a hash out of this for absolutely no reason in the world. There is no reason in the world why Barca should not be dominating this game. There just isn't. When you look at the teams on paper, as Lamine Yamal received the ball from Kunde, took a touch, and the ball went the other direction, and he didn't know to chase it, and Barca lost possession. Now it will be a throw in for Girona, who now go all the way back to base, building from the right hand side. Here's Arnau Martinez now finding himself in midfield. Lamine Yamal finding himself on the left hand side and tackles. I believe that is Torres. And well, it will be a foul for Girona, but it's in their own half. More than anything, all it does is frustrate Barca, which at this point is exactly what you want if you're Girona, because you've had the chances. You've had more chances than Barca. 8 shots off target, one on target. That says everything you need to know about the 8 shots. It's not about Barca having had 8 shots. That means they dominated the game. Absolutely not. Those 8 shots, 6 of them have come from no man's land, and maybe 2 or 3 could be argued as genuine chances. Whereas Girona have had so many chances and have not put them away because they haven't been good enough to put them away. But they've been good enough to consistently create chances, consistently beat Barca's high line. On the left hand side here with Lemar looking to build with Arnau, and Arnau stripped off the ball by Lamine Yamal. Trivela ball, through ball attempted and denied by Dali Blind, who is so calm on the ball. Going back to Vitor Reis, now back to Gazaniga. Pressed by El Tiburon and by Lamine Yamal. Dali Blind holding it up for a potential down the line. Does go for Arnau. Ball now back with Garcia. And Girona with some beautiful triangles to get rid of Barca's pressure. Absolutely brilliant. Just playing Barca's pressure out the park as Arnau now gives it away down the right hand side. Poor ball as he tried to facilitate an attack down the right. Now Barca might have a chance here. A diagonal is swung in for Lamine Yamal. Lamine looking to leave it for Ferran instead of taking it on by himself. And it was very well read by Dali Blind. Girona back in possession. And again, it has been such a slow game. I genuinely cannot. I'm struggling to find the words to describe how slow this game has been. I think watching paint dry would genuinely be more entertaining for you than this game. As Girona almost go through with a goal, as the ball is played across the face of goal, no one there to pick it up, and it goes right past everyone. A touch of a toenail, and that would have been the opener for Girona. Instead, Sigankov's cross finds itself finding no one, and Barca finding themselves lucky to not be a goal down yet. 38 minutes in, still nil-nil. And Jules Koundé looking for options for his throw-in, finds Olmo. Brilliant move from Olmo to get away from the pressure. Ultimately, has to accept the fact that he will get fouled, and did. Swung over for Gerard Martin, realizing he has no options, decides to go back and wait for his teammates to catch up. Frankie de Jong over for Dani Olmo. Has support within Fermin, finds him. Fermin pins it back to Kubarsi. Now for Olmo. Lamine Yamal down the right has Gil in front of him and Arnau to his right. So it goes back to Dani Olmo. And again, Barca have been trying to hand Lamine the keys to this Ford Transit to just get through the masses, and it's just not working out. He can't seem to unlock this defense, and that means other players have to try. And no other player is trying that in the slightest. They're all just focused on keeping possession. So Rafinha gets the ball, he passes it back. Anyone else gets the ball, he passes it back. Lamine Yamal gets the ball, he tries to make something happen, doesn't work, so he passes it back the next 5 times as he tries an over the top here into the mixer, and it's very easily picked up by Girona, heading it back to Gazaniga, who now goes long. And Vanat unable to trouble Kubarsi too much as the young defender goes back to Joan Garcia over for Eric. Faked the urgency and found Jules Koundé, who went back to Garcia. Here's Frankie de Jong looking to slowly but surely drive the ball forward. Over for Dani Olmo. Frankie is calling for his teammates to run down that left hand side because there are no runs. Rafinha in for Ferran. Looks to one touch poke it in back to the Brazilian, unable to do so. And a brilliant run here through the right hand side by Girona, but there is no support. And it looks like Eric Garcia might have fouled him right on the edge of the box. He does pick up a yellow, and it looks like it will be a free kick. It was a brilliant, brilliant run. A brilliant run by Vitor Reis, the center back, who just ran through Barca's attacking line, midfield line, and almost defense, and forced Eric Garcia to tackle him literally on the very edge of the 18-yard box. And it will be a free kick in a very dangerous position. And it is a free kick. And he forced Eric Garcia to do exactly what he wanted him to do, which is to tackle him in that position. Because no one had thought that maybe Vitor Reis was going to make that run. And he did it very, very well. It wasn't luck, it was genuine skill. Maybe a little bit of luck in there. Nonetheless, did incredibly well. And now Girona have a chance to go through here through a free kick. Viktor Tsigankov stepping up here. We're talking right on the edge of the line. Tsigankov over the bar. Decent attempt from the Ukrainian winger, but couldn't beat Joan Garcia. Tsigankov, 20 years of age, and has found his footing in Girona, but they're also his only European club, and he's been there for about 3 years now. Of course, joined from Dynamo Kiev back in 2023. Also, his only senior club in the top five, Girona, as Rafinha with a chance here off the post. A very good chance from Barca. Lamine Yamal finds Rafinha across, and Rafinha stepping up against Rincon, and shoots it between the legs of Hugo Rincon, but it hits the post and goes out. And on the follow-up, I believe it hit Vitor Reis, and Vitor Reis gave away a corner that Rafinha now is ready to take, and it goes all the way towards the far post. It's headed back in by Eric Garcia. Now falls for Lamine Yamal on the edge of the box. Lamine tried what seems like a floating over the top pass. It's denied. The subsequent cross from the left-hand side does fall the way of Barca. Koundé looking to head it on to Eric Garcia, who collided with Hugo Rincon on the headed attempt as it fell into the hands of Gazaniga. And now they're both down, requiring medical attention, potentially. And we have, well, a little bit over a minute of regular time if this first half to go. And then, of course, injury time, which I imagine will be about 3 to 4 minutes, give or take, depending on what happens now. And luckily, it didn't look to be a head collision. More so looked like they both just took a very awkward landing off the header. Garcia holding his back, which is also where the fall seemed to be, as on his way down, he took Hugo Rincon with him unintentionally. But he is back up, although don't be surprised if you see Ronald Araujo warming up already for the second half. And again, for Barca, far, far, far from a good first half, far from a first half where they can feel hard done by because of the scoreline. As Frenkie de Jong looking to make anything happen down the left-hand side with pirouettes. And it doesn't look like he drew the foul. I have to see. No, he did. He did draw the foul. Well played by the Dutchman. Olmo looking to restart play here. Finds support in the defense. Koundé back to Kubarsi. And again, it's the same old story as Barca are making absolutely nothing happen in the dying embers of this first half. Lamine Yamal looking to beat Dali Blend. Does. Then runs into Arnau Martinez, looking to outmuscle him. and finds himself unable to do so. Falls to ground and immediately calls for something to be done by Cesar Sotogrado, who wasn't having any of it. Did very well to body feint Dali Blind away from pressure. Arnau did well on the response, though. Frankie de Jong with the ball here. Over for Lamine Yamal. Has Kunde on the overlap. Lamine in the right half space. Dinks it in towards Olmo. He's found him. Olmo falls to ground. And it looks like it will be a penalty for Barca. And a chance to make something happen out of what has been a calamitous, quite frankly, disappointing first half from the Blaugrana. Will they take this chance and put themselves ahead? Rafinha looks to be the one stepping up to the plate. It won't be Dani Olmo, although he was the one to fall. But Rafinha, to his credit, has been very good with penalties this season. And really no reason why he wouldn't be taking them. Although it would be nice to see Olmo scoring a penalty for once. But that joy will have to wait. And of course, very visible frustration on Dali Blind's part. Looks like Rafinha has given this over to Lamine Yamal. He has. Olmo stepping away. Looks to be in some pain from the tackle, but stretching out a little bit. Hopefully for Barca, he will be okay. And Lamine Yamal getting ready to take this penalty. He's taken 6 in La Liga, and he's scored all 6. Will this be 7 for 7? As he's up against Gazaniga here. Lamine Yamal in the 47th minute, the last second, the last kick of the ball of the first half with 1 minute of injury time. Already through it now. Lamine Yamal and Gazaniga. The ref blows. Lamine Yamal! And he's hit the post! He tried a cheeky tactic with a very slow run up to the ball, quite slow run up to the ball, and ultimately did not hit it with accuracy at all. And well, if that doesn't perfectly depict Barca's first half, I'm not sure what will. Lamine Yamal's penalty goes off the post, and Barca go into the halftime break with a 0-0 scoreline that more than anything flatters Barca more than it flatters Girona. Sort of did like the skip and hop run up, it seemed. And well, Hansi Flick looked away while the penalty was taken. Make of that what you will. And ultimately, Lamine Yamal misses the penalty that could have put Barca ahead in a game that has had very few real chances, the way of the Blaugrana, the way of the guests at the Montilivi. And so that is it for the first half. It is 0-0, and we'll have to wait and see whether Hansi Flick makes any changes in personnel. Of course, for Barca, the options are there, although they're quite slim. We'll have to see what Hansi Flick decides to do. So that is it. Barca 0, Girona 0. Well, Girona 0, Barca 0 at the Montilivi. We'll be back after a brief hydration break, so to speak. So grab your snacks and your drinks and get ready for the second half. We will be right back for the halftime show, for halftime analysis. And I'll see you very, very shortly. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the second half of Barça and Girona. The players have made their ways through the tunnel for the second half of football. And so far, it doesn't look like we'll be seeing any changes in personnel. It is 11 degrees Celsius, 14,500 thereabouts in attendance at the Montilivi on this Monday evening. And it looks like we won't be seeing many changes or any changes in personnel for the second half. Ferran still on the pitch. Eric Garcia still on the pitch. Of course, there were some suspicions, at least from my part, on whether he would continue for the second half. But so far, it looks like Hansi Flick has given him the nod. Whether that means we'll see Araujo shortly, we'll have to wait and see. But no changes in personnel so far for the second half, as Girona almost get close to a scoring opportunity. Barça confused as to who was getting to the ball when it found itself bouncing in the 18-yard box, but ultimately made their way out of danger. Joan Garcia finds Jules Koundé, attracts pressure. Back to Kubarsi. Joan Garcia now over for Gerard Martin. A long ball for Rafinha down the line in for Dani Olmo. Olmo does get it. Long ball across for Lamine Yamal. It's headed by Arnau Martinez, who couldn't keep it in play for Girona. Barça. Lamine Yamal driving forward here, tries a shot, falls as he takes it, or right after he takes it, rather, and it will bounce for Girona, who keep possession here. Dani Olmo putting them under some pressure. And just to give you the lineup again, Gazaniga in goal, Rincon and Arnau Martinez out wide in the fullback positions, Dali Blind and Vitor Reis in the heart of defense for Girona. Ivan Martin and Axel Witzel in midfield for the home side. Tsigankov out wide, as is Brian Gil down the left. Thomas Lemar has taken on more of a number 10 position with Vanat up front. For Barça, Joan Garcia in goal, Eric Garcia and Pau Cubarsí, the center back pairing that Hansi Flick has gone with tonight. Gerard Martin as the left back and Jules Koundé on the right. The midfield consisting of Frenkie de Jong, Fermin Lopez, and Dani Olmo. Realistically, with Frenkie de Jong and Dani Olmo as a double pivot, Fermin Lopez slightly advanced in that midfield. Now Rafinha down the left, Ferran Torres through the middle, and Lamine Yamal down the right as Barça look to build through the middle. Now the ball is on the right-hand side with Lamine Yamal up against a tag team of Brian Gil and Arnau Martinez, who've done very well to neutralize his threat tonight. Lamine Yamal looking to drive down the line here. Brian Gil steps in very well. Lamine just about keeps it in place, still tailed by Brian Gil. Finds Fermin Lopez, who tries a shot, and it's blocked by Girona and out for a corner for Barça. Their second or third, I believe, of the night. I believe that is their third. And we'll see if Barca can make anything happen out of this. Rafinha, of course, stepping up to take it. It is down the right, so it will be an in-swinger. Last time he swung it towards the back post for a header back inside. Will that be the case here as well? This one is swung slightly towards the back post, not as much as the other one. And Barca claiming that the ball was hit off of a Girona player, so it should be another corner on the other side. Girona, of course, claiming the opposite. But it does look like, yep, Cesar Sotogrado has gone with another corner for Barca, this time on the left-hand side. Dani Olmo ready to take this. It's an in-swinger towards the near post. It's just about dealt with by Girona. Bounces out on the right for Rafinha. Rafinha couldn't beat Brian Gil, who again has been phenomenal today and has done so well when in close control of the ball. He's been very, very, very good. Now finds help down the line, and it goes over down the left-hand side. And there is support from Thomas Lemar as well as Tsigankov as Vanat is on the ball here. Jules Koundé does very well to recover, but Vanat gets away with it still. And Barca just about with by the skin of their teeth. With Gerard Martin with a very, very good tackle at a very, very good time. The ball lands for Joan Garcia, and Barca can restart again. But again, Girona doing very well in transition. Barca not seeming to pick up on any of the hints on how they're going to be playing in transition, although they've done the same thing a million times now, and it's worked pretty much every single time. The only flaw for Girona going forward has been their finishing realistically. Everything else they've done perfectly every single time. And here it might be another chance down the left hand side. This time, though, Kunde does pick up the attempted through ball down the line and swings it back for the goalkeeper, Joan Garcia. Olmo picks it up, finds Eric Garcia, and his pass to Rafinha. A bit of miscommunication between the pair means the ball finds itself with Girona. An attempted diagonal switch from Ivan Martin lands for Joan Garcia. The ball now lands for Rincon. Here's Vitor gets away from pressure well. Barca do win it back though. Frenkie de Jong in for Rafinha down the left. Rafinha thought about the shot. Rafinha should have probably taken the shot as Girona closed in on him very, very quickly. And Barca do get a throw in though in the other end of the pitch, on the other side, rather not in the other end, on the other side, and it is taken by Jules Koundé, who finds Frenkie de Jong back to the Frenchman. Now back to Kubarsi, Koundé, Frenkie, Lamine offering his help, although he is also being tailed by three. And Barca now swing it down the left-hand side. Gerard Martin for Eric Garcia. Frenkie de Jong now looking to drive inside. Leaves it for Eric. Down the left-hand side is Rafinha. He gets it here. Rafinha thought about the overlap. Cuts inside instead. Does very well here. Finds Olmo on the edge of the box. Dani Olmo, and his shot was ever curling away from the target. Decent attempt from the former Leipzig man, but nothing to trouble. And Barca with about 5 players warming up, including Ronald Araujo, Rooney Bargi, Alejandro Balde, it seems as well. So we are close to seeing some changes, presumably about a couple of minutes. But it'll be interesting to see what changes Hansi Flick introduces here, because the change really that is needed isn't the finishing as much as it is the creativity in building up. The phase 2 of the play, really, that's where Barca are struggling. Girona are struggling in phase 3. So it will be interesting to see what changes Hansi Flick makes and how they will affect the match, if they will affect the match as well. Rafinha slotting into more of a number 10 spot. Dani Olmo here picking it up on the half space, finds Gerard Martin, who's hugging the touchline. Rafinha now back in the left-hand side, but not getting the ball back, as it's found itself back with the Barcelona defense around the halfway line. Garcia over for Lamine Yamal. Back to Garcia. In for Dani Olmo. He's instantly met by Ivan Martin. Goes over for Kubarsi, who's driving into the half space down the left. Finds Gerard Martin. Martin, the first time cross, it's blocked by Lemar. And he's now swung it in for the supporting cast in midfield. Can they play their way out of it? It seemed like they would be able to, but ultimately they've managed to get possession right back. And Ivan Martin has done very well in that instance as well for Girona to keep possession for the home side. And now maybe an attack down the right-hand side can be launched as Rincon finds himself in the final third. Rincon cuts back, goes back to Martin, and the ball is now all the way back with Gazaniga as Barca had pressed well. Swung all the way over to the left-hand side. Can they keep it in play? Looks like the answer is yes. Tsigankov looks for Lemar, and he's met by Gerard Martin. Lemar does get the shot away, though. Brian Hill done very well there as well. Again, has been involved in pretty much every single attack, even if it's been on the opposite side of the pitch. He has done so well today, Brian Hill, and quite frankly, unlucky not to find himself on the scoreboard yet. Barca looking to build here. Lamine Yamal looked to find Ferran Torres through the gap, unable to. Girona won it right back. Brian Hill brilliantly keeps possession down the left-hand side here. Finds support. Vanat trying to time his run, and they've gone for the opposite flank instead, although Tsigankov not nearly fast enough, as Barca can thank their lucky stars that attack didn't mount to more. Dani Olmo all the way back to pick it up from Joan Garcia. Of course, Dani Olmo, a very interesting story as well, because he came in supposed to be the number 10, the missing link really in Barca's attack, and has found himself now in Pedri's absence, not necessarily forced, but more so necessitated to be playing in a different role than the one he was originally acquired for, which obviously happens all the time in football. The amount of repurposing we've seen from a lot of players throughout the years, but I think Olmo's an interesting case because in the ideal under the ideal conditions, if you do deploy him, if you're Hansi Flick and you deploy him as in the double pivot next to someone like Frankie De Jong, or someone like, presumably it will be Frankie De Jong Olmo or Pedri Frankie De Jong, because Pedri and Olmo just might not work out as well. So that will probably be the way it will go, and then depending on the way fortune swings for either Fermin or Olmo, they'll have to alternate between playing at the 10 spot, which also has been the issue for Dani Olmo and Fermin in finding consistency. So it'll be an interesting question to pose for Hansi Flick, as Olmo finds himself through here down the left, crosses it inside. It's a great ball. Sent him through by Eric Garcia. The ball still with Barca, edge of the box here. Can Rafinha keep it? He falls to ground. Thomas Lemar does well to keep it for Girona, looking to unleash the right-hand side, but back heels it for the on-running Tsigankov. Now for Brian Hill down the left. Brian Hill has Vanat far side. Goes back for Arnau, and now tailed by Lamine Yamal, keeps the ball very, very well. Back heels it in for Arnau between two Barca players. Those Barca players being Jules Koundé and Lamine Yamal. And looks like he might have drawn, well, it looks like Barca might have gotten a foul in the process. And again, it was brilliant play by Viktor Tsigankov and by Brian Hill. And again, Girona's issue is in the finishing. It's not in the build up to the play. It's not in the transition. They've been phenomenal in both those aspects. Their issue has been with finishing. And if they somehow manage a way to change that throughout the course of the remaining 35 minutes plus injury time, Barca will have a real problem on their hands. As Eric Garcia with a throw ball here towards Rafinha, it's intercepted by Girona, who play themselves very well out of pressure here down the left-hand side. Dali Blind, pressed by Lamine, does not care and finds support in the middle. It's an over-the-top ball here for Girona. Through towards Vanat. John Garcia playing sweeper keeper and clears it. Falls for Thomas Lemar. Brilliant first touch from the Frenchman. A give and go between him and Rincon. Now a cross in, and it's low and driven, but it's picked out by Joan Garcia. And now Frankie De Jong driving the ball forward here down the right-hand side. In for Lamine Yamal. Lamine looking for support over the top, unable to find it, and so goes back for Dani Olmo instead. Olmo barely jogging with the ball over for Fermin, who hasn't been too involved in this second half of play. Looking to get a bit involved now here as he combines with Gerard Martin. Over for Olmo. Here's Frankie De Jong. A bit of a wayward pass for Lamine, but he gets it nonetheless. In for Koundé. Koundé initiating a 1-2. Doesn't get it back, though. Lamine. Frankie now. Lamine initiating the 1-2. Gets it back here down the right. Lamine up against Frankie, looking to burst through him with pace. Has done the first time. Cuts back and goes for Frankie. Across in. And it's denied by Girona. Fermin unable to get to it. Now there was Ferran Torres. But it does fall the way of Frankie De Jong for Barca. Frankie for Lamine, supported by Koundé on the road. Lamine with a cross in towards Rafinha, and it's denied brilliantly by a very, very alert Girona defense. Again, it's a good cross from Lamine, and it's a good strike by Rafinha, but Hugo Rincon did brilliantly there. And Barca's corner here taken quickly as they try to make something happen. Fermin with a floating cross from the edge of the box. Now Koundé on the ball far side, looking to cross it in towards Go Barty! Goal! 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 Gol del Barça! Gol de Pau Cubarsí! And Barça find themselves ahead after 60 minutes of being ineffective in front of goal, Pau Kubarsi to the rescue. And again, Koundé with a cross. It is very good. Kubarsi with a very measured header, an excellent leap to get ahead of, I believe it was Vitor Reis. We'll have to watch it back on the replay again. No, it was Hugo Rincon who actually just denied Rafinha the goal-scoring opportunity. Now couldn't deny Pau Kubarsi, who brilliantly heads it into the back of the net. And Barca have themselves a lead with about 30 minutes to go. No offside, no anything. And that is Pau Kubarsi's first league goal this season. And now 2 players looking ready to go. Alejandro Balde and Rooney Bargi finally getting his chance to show what he's made of. Rafinha back heel flicks it off the throw in towards Ferran Torres, but not picked up by the latter. Girona picked it up well through Dali Blind. Here is Arnau. Rincon now back to Vitor Reis. Gazzaniga clears his lines with a very strong kick away from danger. Daniel Olmo unable to pick it up as Girona win the ball back. Brian Hill brilliantly again keeping possession, and now maybe a chance down the left if there's no offside call. Girona play on anyway. It looks like it's not called back for offside yet, so Girona still in possession as they've slowed it down a little bit. Now maybe a cross here down the left-hand side. It's slow driven. They pick it up off the bounce, and it's another cross, and it's a goal for Girona. They got the equalizer straight away, and it is Thomas Lemar who scores the equalizer less than 2 minutes after Barca's opener. Immediate response, instant response, and they practically walked it into the back of the net. It is brilliant from Girona. Barca, with a complete lapse in concentration, thought they had the game in the bag after the goal, and Girona managed to squeeze in right when it mattered most. 1-1. And it is, in truth, a very good goal. The perseverance on the side of Girona has been phenomenal. It's a good ball down the left-hand side. No offside on Vanat, who, again, we've talked a lot about Vanat this game. He cuts it. Doesn't cut it back, but he cuts back his run. And then it's sent through down the left back to Vanat, who isn't in an offside position. Kubarsi manages to tackle, but it lands back to Vanat, who then passes it across for Thomas Lemar. And to me, really no calls of an offside or anything. That goal, in my eyes, is perfectly legal. We'll have to see. As Hansi Flick is talking to, I believe, Cesar Sotogrado. And Barca have made their changes. Rafinha off for Rooney. Hansi Flick obviously hoping that Lamine Yamal will still be able to unlock that defense. And Gerard Martin off for Alejandro Balde. So 2 very expected changes, although, of course, the other option could have been to swap out either a Fermin or Olmo for Rooney and deploying Rafinha as the 10. Thomas Lemar with his second goal in La Liga this season. And the goal stands. It is 1-1. And realistically, we're back to square one. Frenkie de Jong looking to beat Thomas Lemar's press. And thought he might have done so before Lemar came back to haunt him. Barca do get the foul, though. And now we'll have to work their way into getting the lead again. Kubarsi over for Koundé. Cuts inside, then back outside for Frenkie de Jong. Kubarsi again. Playing it to Koundé and getting it right back, and now walking over the halfway line to try and make something happen. Koundé almost gave it away as he tried a diagonal switch over for Eric Garcia. Balde finding himself unable to really do anything one-on-one there, and so forced to go back, and Barca literally playing it around their own back line. And a ball here down the left hand side for Alejandro Balde. It's a good cross. It's a good ball across the length of the pitch, but Barca are unable to make the most of it, and ultimately have to fight to get it back, which they do. Frenkie de Jong down the right for Jules Koundé. Here is Lamine Yamal. Lamine back for Koundé down the line here. Koundé with a cross in. It's denied by Girona, picked up by Girona, and ultimately cleared. Frenkie de Jong heading the ball over to Lamine Yamal, winning it back, getting it back from Lamine. Frenkie now assessing his options, goes to Fermin to his left. Fermin looking to drive forward a little bit here before giving the ball to Rooney Bargi. Rooney back for Fermin, looking for maybe a shot here. He takes it. It's blocked immediately by Girona, but lands for Rooney Bargi. Rooney looking to combine with Fermin, who decides to find Balde instead. The ball now back, well, as far back as it really can be in Girona's half of the pitch, as Barca looking to build again here. Lamine for Koundé, his shot is blocked, and Barca claiming that maybe there should be something the way of a handball, as the ball goes all the way back to Joan Garcia. Frenkie, Koundé, Lamine down the right. Lamine in for Frenkie de Jong. Frenkie here over for Jules Koundé. And looks like he might be hoping for potential overlap pass from Lamine Yamal. It wasn't to come, though. Frenkie back for Lamine, who finds himself around the edge of the box here. Lamine fakes one. Goes for Rooney Bargi. Has ball down the overlap. Back to Lamine. Lamine still on the ball here. Ball now with Fermin down the left in the half space here. Over for Alejandro Balde. Balde combining with Rooney, who's now behind Balde and stretching the width of the pitch. And Barca going from side to side here. Koundé with a cross in, and it's headed back into the hands of Gazzaniga by his own defenders, who looks like they might have collided there. So decent Trivela cross by Lamine Yamal, and it does look like the two defenders looking to give the ball back actually clashed into each other. And now, 66 minutes in, we're seeing a double substitution from Girona. Fran Beltran coming on and Joel Roca coming on. And Joel Roca having come through the ranks of Girona, really. Spent 24-25 season on loan to Mirandes before coming back to Girona, now finding himself coming off the bench for Brian Hill, it seems. And Thomas Lemar, the goal scorer, coming off for Fran Beltran. A very interesting pair of changes here from Girona and from Michel, because Brian Hill has by far been the most dangerous player for Girona on the pitch today. And Thomas Lemar is the only one who's been able to actually put it into the back of the net. But we'll see whether those changes can bear fruit, as Fran Beltran here driving forward, goes for a ball across, and it's a brilliant cross towards the unrunning Joel Roca. The substitutes linking up immediately, but his diving header denied by Joan Garcia. And already, they're definitely making me think about my words, as they've looked to make an impact very, very early on in their cameos here. Joel Roca and Fran Beltran. Barca looking to make something down the right-hand side happen, but again, they find themselves forced to swing it over to the left-hand side through the middle. Well, now with Pau Kubarsi. Here's Dani Olmo. Olmo, realizing he doesn't have many options, goes over to the left-hand side with Rooney. Good first touch. Decent cross in, but into the hands of Gazzaniga. And Robert Lewandowski ready to come on here. Presumably will be replacing Ferran Torres, unless Hansi Flick wants both of them on the pitch, as we saw against Atleti, which, just as a reminder, that goal ended 4-0 to Atleti. As Girona with another chance here, this time denied by Kubarsi, and lands for Jules Koundé rather than landing for Van Aert again. Frankie de Jong here down the right half space over for Lamine Yamal, looking to pass it through for Ferran Torres down the right, unable to get it to him though, and Girona driving forward very, very well there actually with Dali Blind. And still on the ball here down the left-hand side. Fran Beltran in the middle to take it, and does. Swings it over on the right-hand side for Viktor Tsigankov. Has support by Van Aert through the middle. He finds it in Con, back to Tsigankov. Tsigankov 1-2. Tsigankov into the hands of Joan Garcia. And no danger there for Barca, beyond the fact that Girona once again played through their midfield and, quite frankly, played better than Barca have played today. And that is the truth. Girona have played the type of football today that you would be expecting Barca to play. That is the truth. And VAR footage from the Girona goal proves that Eric Garcia was, in fact, keeping the Girona men onside at the time of passing the ball. And so, 1-1, it remains. 70 minutes in. Barca looking to build down the left-hand side here. Alejandro Balde, poor first touch on the control of the long diagonal pass from, I believe, Paco Barti. Good ball, but Balde wasn't able to control it. Girona now looking to give their own luck a try here through the middle. All now on the left-hand side with Van Aert. It's a great ball through here. Can they find Van Aert inside? And the shot is taken. It lands for Van Aert. Brilliant double save by Joan Garcia. Triple save by Joan Garcia. Headed out by Koundé. Headed into the back of the net, but offside. Brilliant by Joan Garcia. Single-handedly keeping Barca in this with a triple save. Watch it back again. The ball down the left-hand side looked to be offside. And then the second time of asking, when Van Aert actually got the shot away, that one was also offside. That one was definitely offside. Joan Garcia with a double save, and then the follow-up header also denying that. It hits Jules Koundé, who heads it out, and then it's headed in, or struck in, rather, by Girona. And it is 1-1 still. Barca saved by the flag. But once again, showcasing that there are a lot of issues in this side right now. One of them seeming to be the board used by the fourth official, is he wasn't quite able to showcase who was taken on and taken off. Ferran Torres replaced by Robert Lewandowski. Ronald Araujo coming onto the pitch, replacing Eric Garcia. That one makes sense. Eric Garcia, though, seeming quite frustrated as he comes off. Araujo taking the armband from Frankie de Jong, of course, Ronald Araujo, captain here in this setting. So now the defense is Ronald Araujo, Paco Barci, and Jules Koundé, and Alejandro Balde. And here is Kubarsi over for Balde. Girona pressing intensely as Rooney goes all the way back to help support. Kubarsi in for Olmo. Olmo with a good first touch, a good second touch, but ultimately drawing a foul. And Van Aert coming off for Echeverri. And Echeverri will be very interesting to see how he does. Eric Garcia was incredibly frustrated coming off the pitch. Said his hellos to Hansi Flick, but then proceeded to punch the bench chairs very aggressively. And you can understand his frustration, not necessarily being taken off, but also because he actually has done quite well in this game. But more so with the result and the way Barca have played today, it's just not been good enough. Especially not given what's at stake, not given what game you're responding to, as they might be through here again, Girona. And here is Echeverri, denied by Joan Garcia. Brilliant save again. Joel Roca was through on goal down the right-hand side. It was a great ball to send him through. And again, Echeverri with a brilliantly timed ball. And just denied by Joan Garcia, who again has kept Barca in this game single-handedly now. Again. And again, the high line is failing Barca. And now a corner for Girona. It's towards the near post with some force. It's denied by Barca, but picked up by Girona again down the left-hand side here. Koundé denying the attempted through ball down the line, and Girona get a throw in. 75 minutes played. Echeverri down the left here, up against Koundé. He beats Koundé for pace, and Koundé follows up with a tackle to get the ball out of play for another corner. And Joel Roca has also been very, very involved since coming on. Not as inventive as Brian Gil, but definitely troubling Barca a lot. And across here goes over the heads of everyone from the left-hand side as they look to find an inroad. Echeverri with, let's just say, an inventive attempt, but unable to find the accuracy. And Barca have been unable to find accuracy of any kind, really, when it comes to being in front of goal. Although Girona have had more chances than Barca, regardless of what the shot count will tell you. Frenkie de Jong combining down the right-hand side here, now going all the way back to Ronald Araujo. Swung over on the left to Alejandro Balde. In for Olmo. Koundé to Araujo. And again, Barca, with about 14 minutes to go of regular time, need something, and they need it urgently. And Lamine Yamal has not been able to deliver the goods today. Neither has Rafinha, neither has Fermin, nor Olmo when it comes to attacking play. As Fermin swings it over to Balde, it just about misses Olmo. Balde with a great ball through here for Rooney Bargi. And it falls right into the hands of Gazzaniga. Well, really, it never left the ground. It was a low-driven attempt. A very good one. It was a great ball by Alejandro Balde. A great through ball on the outside of the line of defense. And those are the types of runs that Barca need to make more of, because a chance like that where they're able to actually finish it off, that's all they need. And Girona with a chance here down the left. And again, Jules Koundé to the rescue. Joel Roca did very well down the left-hand side again for Girona. Koundé did very well to constantly be a threat to his attacking play, and ultimately making sure that his attempt at a cross didn't go anywhere, but into the hands of Joan Garcia. Barca looked to attack on the other and through to Bargi, but he was muscled off the ball and also dragged off the ball on the replay, quite evidently, although the referee didn't feel the need to do anything about that. And Arnau here down the left-hand side, looking to find support. And Olmo did well to press Girona to the point where they couldn't really go for the ball. Landed for Araujo. Ball now with Frenkie de Jong. Lamine Yamal away from one. Back to Olmo on the edge of the box. Olmo back for Lamine. Lamine down the right. Lamine from a tight angle goes past one. Can't get the shot away. And Lamine claiming that the ball hit a Girona player on the way out. Cesar Sotogrado saying it didn't. Have to watch it back again. It definitely did. And not only that, but it was definitely tackled out of bounds by a Girona player in Dali Blind. But oddly enough, no corner. Instead, it looks like he might be, well, unsure if he's giving the foul for Girona or if he's just giving them the goal kick. But Marc Bernal is ready to come on here for Dani Olmo, which means Fermin Lopez stays as the unequivocal 10 in this instance. Mark Bernal very much the double pivot to Frankie de Jong here. So more of an orthodox midfield pair up for Hansi Flick. But will it pay dividends? We'll have to wait and see. As a brilliant press by Barca through Lamin finds Lewandowski in for Rooney Bargi, looking to chip it into the path of Lewandowski, unable to do that though. And Gazaniga really caused himself his own problems there with that goal kick. Didn't power it enough to go past Lamine Yamal, who slid in to get it. Found Lewandowski, who found Rooney Bargi. But unfortunately, by the time it hit Rooney Bargi, the defenders already knew what was going to happen next. It was rather easy for them to nullify the threat of his dinked pass through towards Lewandowski. And Barca now looking to build again through Kubarsi here, driving forward into the half space. Finds Fermin. Back to Kubarsi. Over for Rooney Bargi, who's taking on more of a central position now. Kunde down the right. Fakes it, then goes over to Lamin. Lamin in for Frankie de Jong, looking to beat the defensive line. Finds himself only able to stall it and go back to Kunde. Does. Now Lamin. Back to Kunde down the line. Kunde, can he get across in past Arnau? Not the first time, but Lamin does get it back off of Arnau. Here's Frankie de Jong now for Fermin Lopez. Around the edge of the box. Fermin lines up for a shot. Goes for an over-the-top ball in towards Lamine Yamal. Kunde fighting here to get it past Joel Roca. Does. The cross is a cutback, and it's not the best one. Doesn't line quite up for Barca's men. But Araujo wins it back down the left. The good cross from Araujo would mean everything, but it meant nothing there as the cross landed for Girona. We're now trying to play their way out of danger. Almost did, except they found Marc Bernal. Here is Rooney Bargi with a strike, denied by Vitor and subsequently the follow-up, then denied by Girona. Ball does, however, land for Fermin Lopez. And it is very evident that that Girona, since the substitution of Brian Hill, have actually suffered quite a lot. As Lamine Yamal with a shot here from the right-hand side, and it's just wide from Lamine Yamal. A very, very, very good low finessed effort. Was curving towards the back of the net, but just wide. Unlucky for Barca. And those are the opportunities for which you keep in a Lamine Yamal. And to their credit, Barca have attacked almost equally through all three verticals of the pitch. 10 central attacks, 9 coming from the right-hand side of Lamine Yamal, and 11 coming from the left-hand side of, well, now Rooney Bargi, previously Rafinha, as well as Fermin Lopez. To an extent, Dani Olmo. And Barca give the ball away here very poorly, but win it right back. Kubarsi with a very good step in before the ball could make its way to Echeverri. And looks like we won't see more changes in personnel, it seems. Of course, next up for Barca is Levante at the Camp Nou. But if they play anything like they did today, Barca realistically will be lucky to walk out with a point. As Jules Koundé picks up a yellow. No accumulation for him just yet. So he won't be missing the next game due to suspension. But he did just drag Arnau to ground. Picks up a well-deserved yellow for that action. And Girona taking their time with this because for them, even this result would be good in terms of the overall morale of the club. And Girona now ready to take this free kick. It goes all the way over to the right-hand side. It lands for Echeverri. Claudio in for Rincon. Look to cross it in. Unable to do that. Barca now looking to attack here down the left. It's a very, very poor ball from Robert Lewandowski as he tried to switch it inside. Barca would have had a chance that would favor them quite a lot, in truth. Unfortunately for them, though, Girona now on the attack instead. And their cross from the left-hand side over towards Hugo Rincon, picked up by Fermin. Barca. Luck lands their way as Lewandowski gets the ball here down the left-hand side. He's instantly met by three. He pushes it over to Bernal. Here's Lamine Yamal looking to find Bernal again. And it's denied by Girona. Rincon with a back heel flick to his teammate, who then looks to run it down. Looks like ball is still in play. Lamine Yamal with a cross in towards Lewandowski. As he heads it, he falls. And Girona back in possession. The referee not willing to interrupt the flow of the game, which is beautiful to see. Bernal wins the ball back. It's calamity around Girona's box, and looks like finally the play is being stopped. But it looks like it will be stopped for an offside call, as Tsigankov was trying to move the ball forward for Girona. It hit Bernal, who found Lewandowski, but the Polish striker was in an offside position at the time of the ball hitting Marc Bernal. And so it is being called back for an offside with 5 minutes to go of regular time. What we're looking at is seemingly yet another disappointing result from Barca on yet another match day. Last time out, 4-0 against Atleti. A 4-0 loss, that is. And today, a 1-1 draw to Girona, scoring literally a little bit over a minute after Barca got their opener, and maybe a chance here for Claudio. Still on it down the left, finds Joel Roca down the left-hand side. Joel Roca looking to dribble inside, leaves it, and the strike into the back of the net. Girona looks like they might have just won it, and it's Fran Beltran with the final dagger with 4 minutes to go. Girona have completed a comeback here. And what a terrible, terrible result for Barca if the final score stays like this. 86 minutes in, Fran Beltran has slammed it into the back of the net. It is a very, very good effort from Fran Beltran. A very good strike. Beats Joan Garcia. Claudio did incredibly well on the attack. Of course, the talk here now is about whether there was a foul on Jules Koundé. Joel Roca did very well, marked by three Barca players, did so well to hold up the ball and pass it over to Fran Beltran. Takes one touch to settle and then shoots it right between the hands of Pau Kubarti. And quite frankly, for me, I don't see how it would have been a foul on Jules Koundé because he came in for the tackle. So if that is a foul and it is called back for one, Girona will have to consider themselves extremely unlucky. But it doesn't look to be the case. It does look like Barca will have picked up their second loss on the bounce across two different competitions. But we'll have to see. Hansi Flick and Michel seemingly both awaiting the final decision as the referee is getting word from the VAR team. We'll have to see. It looks like the goal might stand here. We'll have to wait and see. Cesar Sotogrado is still reviewing this. Well, he's not reviewing this. The VAR team is, and he's awaiting their instructions. Not going to the TV himself yet. This goal, of course, that could change the outlook of a lot of things for Barca in terms of La Liga, as well as for Girona, of course. We'll have to see what the referee says. And it is 2-1. The goal does stand. Girona lead, and it is Fran Beltran's first goal in La Liga this season. Balde now down the left side for Fermin Lopez. Fermin unable to get it off the bounce from Balde, but does get the throw in to take here. Slips out of his hand, but looks like it's legal enough. Joan Garcia back in possession. Here's Frankie de Jong looking to drive forward. Barca finally look like they're playing with some urgency, which truthfully about time, as they now find themselves down 2-1, having been the first team to score in this one. Balde, Kubarsi, in for Mark Bernal. Back to Frankie de Jong, who's now the furthest man back. Jules Koundé, Lamine, Rooney, all the way back to Joan Garcia. Over for Kubarsi, a bit of a dangerous pass, but made it nonetheless, and Kubarsi did get to it. Over to Frankie de Jong. Kubarsi driving forward here down the left half space. Has Balde supporting run through the middle. Goes for Fermin down the left. Fermin Lopez cuts inside. Try to cross. It's denied. Lead by Hugo Rincon. Frankie. Fermin. Here is Alejandro Balde down the left-hand side with a cross, and it's denied. And Lamine Yamal might pick it up here down the right. Lamine Yamal denied again. Cross in here from the corner, and Araujo just wide. Ronald Araujo just wide. It's a great cross from Lamine Yamal. It falls into Ronald Araujo's feet, and he takes the strike. He's arguing that it bounced off of the Girona defender, I believe. Didn't look like it, though, on the replay at least. And 7 minutes of injury time. Frances now ready to come on for Girona. It looks like Ivan Martin will be paving the way. Good game from Ivan Martin. As you'd expect, quite a solid performer, especially in games like this, and has proven that once again. And now replaced by Frances. And we'll see if it will be a goal kick for Girona. Cleared immediately by Kubarsi. The ball then bounced out by Girona. Barca looking to drive forward here with Fermin Lopez and Balde. Balde unable to keep hold of it. Girona doing well to keep possession here down the right-hand side, and they've driven forward again as Hugo Rincon back in for Claudio Echeverri. And he's pressed well enough by Jules Koundé to the point where when he shoots, it goes very, very, very wide. And in fact, he almost shot it from an off-the-field position. Good defending there by Jules Koundé. Here's Alejandro Balde down the left. Balde in for Fermin. Fermin goes for a cross in towards the back post, and it was Everett sailing over and wide. And again, from Jules Koundé, he's been on the receiving end of a lot of criticism from Barca fans in recent times. But quite frankly, for me, and I will be talking about this at length after the game as well, has been the most consistent defender for Barca, which feels weird to say because as a right back, he's not usually very defensive. But I think he's, for me, I mean, obviously, I think Kubarsi has done well. I think Garcia has done well. But for me, when you're talking about the fullbacks, Balde in that instance drove forward, and Koundé is the furthest man back to help out as the only one on Balde's side, which obviously happens from time to time. But I think Koundé genuinely just has been that good. Um, and so for me, in a game like this, Joan Garcia is obviously the one to thank for Barca not having conceded more than two, but I think Koundé is largely also at fault here as Barca drive forward again, and this time Rooney unable to find support by Marc Bernal. Hands on his head as Barca look to build again. De Jong back to Lamine Yamal as Rooney to his right. Lamine drifting inside finds Marc Bernal over for Rooney on the right hand side. Now Rooney with a cross in. It's quite low. And it now lands for Koundé, who tries a ping ball to the edge of the box where Balde was sitting. Also, that one didn't land, and Barca now have to get possession back, and did Now find themselves on the left-hand side. Fermin Lopez with another crossed attempt and towards Araujo. Oh, goal! Looks like it's offside. It is offside. That would have been a ridiculous ending to a game like this, quite frankly. Fermin with a very good cross. Lewandowski and Araujo the targets. Lewandowski very, very much offside. Unfortunately for Barca, very, very much in an offside position. Decent header, or decent rather touch to get it into the back of the net. But unfortunately for him, he was in a very clear offside position. And Barca will have to try that again. Araujo pretty much playing as a second striker with Robert Lewandowski. And should Barca even be able to salvage the 1 point here, that should not paper over the cracks. As Lamine Yamal driving down the right here for Rooney. Back to Lamine Yamal. Can he keep hold of it? The answer is no. Barca saying there should be a corner. Girona saying there shouldn't be. And no, there will be a corner. With a minute and a half to go, this is one of the final attacks for Barca. Lamine Yamal. It's headed out by Girona. Lands for Firmino. There's the box. Fermin tries a shot. It's blocked immediately by Axel Witsel. Lands for Balde. Looking to swing it back inside. And Girona now might have a chance on the other end here, as Claudio does incredibly well to beat the press of Barca. And then calmly swing it over for Viktor Tsigankov. A chance here if he shoots it. It still lands for Girona. Claudio! Just wide. And Joel Roca again involved. Again, the substitutes, we were talking about it before, very involved in the attacking play from for Girona, have done incredibly well on these cameos. Despite how well Brian Gil, in my eyes, did in the first half, they've done incredibly well to come on and really change the pace and the style of the game as well as they have. And for Barca, well, they should have been a lot better. Rooney down the right, looking to cross it in. It bounces off Girona, then off him. And looks like he might have just won a corner. He has, with seconds to go. This is the chance for Barca to salvage anything at all from this game and not walk home with 0 points in the bag. Joan Garcia has pushed up as well in the mix. We'll see whether he can pull Anatoly Trubin. As Rooney ready to take this corner. It goes into the mixer. It's headed from front to back here. Barca still on it. And Frankie falls to ground. No penalty, says the referee. Looks to be no review either. It looks like he's blown the final whistle. He's telling the Barca players to get up. He's telling Frankie de Jong to get up. Let's see. Araujo troubles. Well, in fairness, Fran Beltran, as he's looking to head the ball away, heads it away, and then side shoves Frankie de Jong into the back of Frankie de Jong. Kubarsi also fell to ground in the instance of play. And Barca now looking to swing again here from through the middle. It lands for Rooney. He tries the shot. It lands for Araujo. And maybe a chance here in this calamity for Barca. No is the answer. And Girona find themselves potentially through, if not for Jules Koundé. Brilliant defending from the Frenchman. Barca look to try again down the right-hand side. And Lamine Yamal is almost sliced in half there. And a red card is issued immediately to the one player that I was praising minutes ago, Joel Roca. A red card immediately issued, and he's been given his marching orders as Lamine Yamal is still scrapping with some of the Girona players. Arnau over there to console him. Looks like he's done a good job of that. Obviously, this red card meaning that we'll probably see a little bit more time left on the clock. It's a poor tackle. It's a terrible tackle from Joel Roca. And Lamine Yamal then fell into another tackle, standing tackle by Axel Witsel was ready. Joel Roca now coming off here. Girona playing with 10 men. And Joan Garcia, the man at the far post, really, at the far edge of the 18-yard box, as Rooney gets ready to take this free kick near the sidelines, about 45 meters out. Rooney ready to take it, has support in the mixer as well as Joan Garcia. It goes in towards the middle. It's denied immediately by Girona. Headed into the mix by Araujo. And Joan Garcia rushing to get back. Looks like that is it. Yep, it is. The final whistle has blown. Girona have turned a 1-0 deficit into a 2-1 victory as Barca's misery continues. Awful, awful performance paired by an awful scoreline. And Barca, once again, just absolutely disappointing. We'll be back shortly after this brief break for the Driven Shot podcast, or rather that and the BG full-time show. So I will see you shortly. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, we are back, and it has just been brought to my attention that for some reason, due to the issues Twitter has been having today, that this stream has not been on Twitter. So we're gonna stop this one and start another one, literally seconds after this. So